Big JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn, Barrett off today. Joining us now, I believe this past Super Bowl was his 30th, covering his 30th Super Bowl. ESPN national correspondent. No one does it better. I mean, no one than that man right there, Sal Paolantonio. Sal, did I get that right? Was it the big 3-0 for you?
Yes, the big 3-0. Can't you tell by all this gray hair?
Wow. Well, you're only 32 years old. You've been covering the Super Bowl since you were 2. It's amazing, man. But It's good to see you, Sal, as always.
Good to see you guys.
What a day to have you on.
I'm good. I'm good.
Fast and furious. Let's start with Brandon Graham coming back. 1 year, we're hearing $6 million, Sal. But to have a guy like that, not only leadership, but production that he gave them last year, coming back, your thoughts?
Well, congratulations to Brandon Graham. You always want to be able to control your own destiny in life. And he's exactly, as D. Gunn likes to say, exactly where he should be in life right now. And I think he'll be forever with the Philadelphia Eagles. He made the greatest play in Eagles history. No disrespect to Philly special. But as we learned last year, that strip sack, the last Super Bowl, that strip sack of Tom Brady, that one stop in Super Bowl 52 was the difference between probably winning and losing against the Patriots. And Brandon Graham was the one. And D. Gunn, you can confirm this for me because I know you know him very well. Man of the year for the Philadelphia Eagles. But the reason why is not because of his play on the field, Rob. It's because after the Super Bowl, he stood up in front of his teammates and apologized that the defense could not get that one stop against Patrick Mahomes the second and Andy Reid's offense in the second half. They got the one stop against Tom Brady when Tom Brady had a record second performance. And they got the one stop. And they won Super Bowl 52, but they couldn't get it against Patrick Mahomes the second. And Brandon Graham, to me, made the greatest play in Eagles history. And he should be on the Wall of Fame, on the Ring of Honor, everywhere where Eagles are honored. And I believe, as a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame selection committee, that he is a legitimate contender to get a bust, one of the bronze busts in the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Yes, I believe that.
Okay.
Wow. Sal, it is such a rarity for a defensive lineman to spend 14 seasons with one organization. But that tells you what this organization thinks about him, not just as an athlete, but as a person, a representation of their organization and their culture, what they stand for. Stand-up community guy, stand-up guy in the locker room. You're never going to see his name on a police blotter anywhere. And, you know, you go back to when he really struggled early in his career, and they stood by him, even through the rough, turbulent waters when he was injured, wasn't making the plays. They saw something in him that maybe we missed. And here we are today, and he's still here. This is the second time, really, he's decided to stay in Philadelphia, and when he could have made big money elsewhere. It tells you what he thinks about the organization and what that organization thinks about him.
Every professional organization in sports or otherwise, military, business, whatever you want somebody like Brandon Graham, who's loyal, productive, a leader. When nobody's looking, he's leading. And that's the kind of leader that you want. I'm not going out on a limb here by saying he's a generational player in terms of his leadership and what he has brought to this football team and this community. I don't think there's anybody better. I really don't.
Sal, let's go to the other big story. Darius Slay's been given permission to work out a trade. Now, what we're hearing is the Eagles wanted to restructure, wanted him to kind of spread the money out a little bit more and maybe even take a pay cut. He's not willing. What's the likeliness that this guy gets traded, and where do you think things stand with him in the organization right now?
You know, this is a new one. This is a shocker. We all woke up to this morning. I am a little surprised by this, that they would pull the plug so quickly on whatever's happening behind the scenes and say, all right, go out and try to get a trade and try to get your money. Because Darius Slay made it very clear that he wanted an extension and he wants to stay here and he wants to finish the job that they started. So the fact that was leaked to Diana Rossini and her reporting is spot on as usual, tells me that some kind of friction happened behind the scenes. I'm surprised by it, Rob. I really am.
Yeah, and it's Rosenhaus too, and you know that can be kind of combustible sometimes, Sal. We've seen this, we've lived this movie, before. Not an easy guy to trade. I mean, I know whoever trades for him would extend him, but you talk about an older player now at that position at 33.
I don't know about that.
Well,
I mean, he's a
middle-aged.
No, I'm not saying about the age. He was pretty productive though this offseason. I mean, did he have a great Super Bowl? Probably not. Did he have a good enough Super Bowl? Did he have a great season? Absolutely, 100%. He should be back. He proved to be a good leader. I think the success of Nick Sirianni in 2 years was because he had young players like Jalen Hurts and veteran players like Brandon Graham and Darius Slay who were willing to lead from the field in the locker room. Darius Slay was a pretty good leader for this team. He really was.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Sal, one of the biggest offseason stories is what is Jalen Hurts worth as a quarterback? I mean, we saw what Derek Carr just got with New Orleans. We talk about it all the time, how Arizona and Cleveland blew the doors off of what you give a quarterback. When you look at the body of work of a Jalen Hurts, what he just went through, what is he worth on the market right now?
Right. So, and this is the story, right, guys?
Yeah.
The reason why they're being, very cautious right now, they didn't tag anybody. Apparently, they've said to Darius, go out and try to get yourself traded and get the money that you want, is because really you have to take care of Jalen Hurts first. Mm-hmm. I'm not speaking out of bounds here. I think it's pretty clear that they have to have the money, both in terms of cap space and cash, to pay Jalen Hurts. What do I think his market value is? I said it on your show during the year. $250 million guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
$50 million a year for 5 years. $250 guaranteed. I think that's what he's just sitting there, right? And he's saying, hey, they gave Derek Carr $100 million. They gave Daniel Jones $100 million. I just took this team to the Super Bowl in the second year as a full-time starter. Come on.
Yeah, it couldn't have worked out better for him. No. Not only, Sal, does he crush it this year and, runner-up MVP, you're right. You're seeing all the other guys and what they're getting, and those guys can't hold a candle to him. Let's face it.
No, they really can't. I mean, it's crazy, right, Rob? So the question is, do they get it done now? Because they really don't have to get it done now. Am I wrong about that? But I think they can wait one more year before they have to.
Yeah. He's heading in. Yeah, he's got the last year of the deal. He doesn't have the 5th-year option because he was a second rounder, but he does have another year left. He'll make about $4 million this year.
Right. So the right thing to do is to pay Jalen Hurts. We can all agree on that. The right thing to do is to pay him because he has earned it and he deserves it. Mm-hmm. And the right thing to do is to pay him now. And I think they realize that they can't go into this season with the man being paid $4 million a year. It can't happen, right?
Yeah, just look down the road. That didn't work out real well for Baltimore, right? And they're still trying to figure that thing out.
Yeah, and I think they're two different players in terms of a lot of different things. But yes, you're right. But you just can't go into this year paying a guy $4 million. It would be an outrage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sal, do you agree we're going to see this Eagles defense look drastically different because of all the players out there that could potentially make a lot more money than the Eagles are willing to pay them?
I don't know. I think the market is pretty tight in the NFL right now. I think everybody's pinching their pennies. Why? Because quarterbacks are getting so much money. Wide receivers are getting so much money. Both of those positions are now demanding guaranteed money that we haven't seen before in NFL history. So I think a lot of teams are sort of like trying to figure out where things are. So I'm not sure. But, this was an all-star team on defense. Yeah. I don't know if you saw, but Pro Football Focus just did their top 100 for 2022. The Eagles had 13 players in the top 100 graded out. Okay. No other team had 7, more than 7. The Chiefs had 7. No other team had more than 7. The Eagles had 13 grade out in the top 100. 7 of them were on defense. So the most that any other team had was Kansas City, a total of 7 on offense and defense. The Eagles had 7 on defense alone. Howie Roseman assembled an all-star team, right? But they couldn't get that one stop against that quarterback and that coach in the Super Bowl. So you have to look at everything. You have to self-scout with the highest level of honesty that you can possibly have, especially regarding what happened in the second half of the Super Bowl. Because you're probably going to you're going to have to go through Mahomes and Reed in order to win a title again, unless something crazy happens.
Yeah, so and it's we know it's an offensive league, but you're right. I mean, it did come down to that stop, but the Eagles view it as, look, last year was the exception. We're not going to have that kind of personnel. That is rare, maybe ever. We may not ever see that again. Man, we're just going to try to outpunch you, and outscore you, and we bring back most of this offense. If we have to take up hits on defense, we take a couple of hits. Do you think that's the philosophy here?
I don't know what the philosophy is, but this is it. They missed the Super Bowl title by 3 points.
Yeah.
A bad punt and one stop short on defense.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, what Howie Roseman did to go back to the Super Bowl in 5 years with a different quarterback and a different head coach, never been done before. Ozzie Newsome didn't do it in 5 years in Baltimore. What he did was brilliant and historical and unprecedented. So my money's on Howie Roseman and that front office on trying to pivot again. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to say they will be a Final Four team in 2023 in the NFC.
I agree.
D, come on, help me on this.
I agree.
They got to be a final. I mean, who are your teams in the NFC?
That's the beauty, Sal. This thing is very wide open in that conference, man.
Who's your teams in the NFC?
Well,
Eagles.
Yeah, you go 49ers, but you don't know how the quarterback situation
Who's the quarterback?
Purdy had his surgery today, but is it he? Is it Trey Lance? We don't
Rodgers
know.
is probably going to the Jets. He's out
Right.
of the conference.
Right. Yeah, and then it's your division, I guess. I guess it's Dallas.
Dallas, yep.
Giants are better, but the South is better with Carr. I guess New Orleans. But yeah, you're right. There's nothing that really – you're not shaking in your boots with anybody.
So, I mean, I think just we can deduce that the philosophy has to be we're not tearing this thing up and starting over.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to figure out how we got this guy, number one, and that puts us in a position to win a conference title every year, no matter who we have. We got to figure out how to make that work. And everybody's going to want to come back. As you heard Brandon Graham say, hey, I told my agent I want to win a Super Bowl with Jalen. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Every player in the league is going to want to come. Hometown discount. Figure it out. If I'm Slay's agent and Slay, I sit down and say, all right, well, we could probably get more money in where?
Houston, Chicago.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
But do we want to go there and waste the 5 years of our life?
Yeah.
Or,
At 32 years of age?
Or do we want to take a little bit less money and stay in Philly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, and Sally, I think the other thing that we're kind of overlooking a little bit or discounting maybe is Howie's ability to find that guy on the 1 year deal at a cheaper rate. He wants to prove himself, or he was in a situation where it just didn't work out like Bradbury. We're kind of overlooking that part of it too. This guy is a cat master, a wizard, if you will. And I think he'll be able to figure that part of it out. It might be a 1 year, 2 year deal. That's okay. I mean, it's kind of what you have to do here. Parse those guys in.
And so what does the team need? Well, the philosophy always is build from the inside out, right? They got 2 first-round picks. I don't know if they'll pick at number 10 or try to slide, but clearly you can't have enough pass rushers. I got to figure out, I don't know why Jordan Davis only had 10 snaps in the Super Bowl.
I still can't figure that out.
I mean, he was your number 1 pick in the draft, Derek, and he had 10 snaps in the Super Bowl.
That's right.
And same with Linval Joseph. Why did he have 10 snaps in the Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the answer to that.
There was a lot of head-scratching stuff in that.
Right, so, I mean, you got Jordan Davis. You got to get another pass rusher. You probably got to get a linebacker, offensive line. And then you scout out, I think you scout out for a veteran running back and a veteran safety. Veteran safety. Because even if you pick a safety, that safety's got to be he's got to be Ed Reed if he's going to start at safety in the NFL as a rookie. It's very hard to play. It's one of the hardest positions to play. It's cerebral and physical. So it's hard to find that guy. I mean, look what happened with Baltimore. They took that guy out of Notre Dame, and he was lost in the sauce most of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, now it makes a lot of sense. Sal, how about the coaching turnover? Look, this kind of stuff happens when you win. You get poached. It just is what it is. Let's start with Desai. Were you surprised it wasn't Denard Wilson? They didn't stay in-house? And what do you think about the Desai hiring?
I like the Desai hiring a lot. I think he's a smart coach, and I think the players will really like him. But I think Brian Johnson's the key.
Yeah.
I mean, I am super impressed with Brian Johnson. Jalen and he are tight. And listen, Shane Steichen was brilliant in his play calling. What did we say? What was the number? If you include the Super Bowl, when Steichen was calling the plays, when Jalen Hurts was the starter, they only lost 3 games in 2 years.
Wow.
I think the Super Bowl made 4, but that's incredible. So Brian Johnson's never called plays, so he's going to have to call plays, but I think he's smart enough to do that. And with Jalen and, I think with Nick, I think they'll be okay offensively. I think the bottom line is they just need to be less static on defense. Move guys around more. I think that's the key. Find ways to get guys with formation variation free at the quarterback. They had one great play on defense, Kansas City in the Super Bowl. It was a defensive back strip sack of Jalen Hurts. And he came in almost free, untouched. Yeah. And I didn't see that from the Eagles in that game.
Hey, Sal, do you think Howie Roseman still falls in the category of underappreciated for what he's done with this organization over the last couple of years in particular, in terms of how he's drafted, how he's worked the cap, how he strategically has brought in free agents and so on and so forth? You still think he's underappreciated in some ways?
No, short answer, no, D-Gun, I don't. Okay. Well, I mean, let's look at the top general managers in the league right now, off the top of our head. Who are they?
I think John Lynch is pretty good.
John Lynch didn't go to Super Bowl.
True.
Who else?
No.
Well, the obvious one is Brett Veach.
Brett Veach.
Yeah.
So I would say it's Veach and Roseman.
Yeah.
That's it.
Now, it's a fair point. There's no question about that. I mean, 14-3, man, 14-3. How about, you're right, Sal, the point to where they were in coming off the 20 season, they still had Carson Wentz here. They still had Doug here. And it looked like the roster was just at best. Flips that into Sirianni and Hurts, a playoff appearance, and then a Super Bowl appearance within 3 points of winning it the next year is nothing short of remarkable.
Historic, unprecedented. To go back to the Super Bowl 5 years later with a new coach and new quarterback. No one's ever done it. I don't think anybody will. New coach and new quarterback? But listen, Rob, it's super hard to go back to the Super Bowl, right? The number is the number. There are 18 straight quarterbacks who lost their debut in the Super Bowl have not gone back to the Super Bowl. 18 straight.
That's crazy. Wow. That is crazy.
18 straight quarterbacks who lost their Super Bowl debut have not gone back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So recent history says super hard to do it. I think Jalen Hurts will break the streak. I don't know if it'll be this year, but I think he'll break the streak. But here's another one that's even more daunting. Who was the last head coach and quarterback combo to lose their debut in the Super Bowl, then go back and win it? It's only happened once in NFL history. Coach and quarterback to lose their Super Bowl debut together, then go back and win it. It would be Super Bowl 4.
Dolphins?
No. Hank Stram and Len Dawson.
Oh, my God. Jeez. That's a freaking long time ago, man.
53 years ago, D-Gun.
I was thinking Denver. They went to those back-to-back Super Bowl. But, wow. Hank Stram.
Hank Stram was the first coach with a quarterback to lose their debut, then go back. First and only.
That's pretty wild.
That's-
53 years ago. So it's not easy to do what they're attempting to do.
Man.
Very hard.
Sal, I have to ask you, getting away from the Eagles for a moment, but staying in the division, your thoughts on the Giants making this commitment to Daniel Jones? Obviously, Brian Daboll sees something in him that maybe a lot of people that are shocked by the move don't see.
Well, first of all, you know me. I'm all about players getting the most money they can from the NFL.
Yep.
Bottom line, get your money. So I will never, ever say it's the wrong thing to pay a guy because these guys deserve the money. The money's there and they deserve it. But it's all about how you parse it out, right? And whether he's worth it. So Daniel Jones made it through the entire season in a year in which we saw 68 different quarterbacks make a start. Most in NFL history, other than the strike year of 87. 68. And he lasted the whole season. So availability and durability are really important. He was a good leader. He took the hard coaching well. They told him to cut back on the interceptions and the fumbles. He did that. He won a playoff game. He didn't break the bank. What are the alternatives? Is Derek Carr better than Daniel Jones?
Maybe slightly, but it's not. Is it? Yeah, it's not a huge.
The only thing you could say is maybe, hey, what about Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
Why don't you pay him the big number and the 2 first-round picks and bring him into New York? That's the only one.
Sal, you mentioned it.
Or Aaron Rodgers, if you want to go down that.
Right.
Okay, so let's go there. Is that, in your estimation, going to happen soon, where he ends up going to the Jets, or do you get that? He's a hard guy to read sometimes. I mean, to say the least.
Well, the Jets have all the leverage, right? There's no other team in the sweepstakes. The mere fact that the Packers are even willing to pay some of the $60 million tell you they're pretty desperate to get rid of this guy. Right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong about that?
No.
You're right. You're right.
The Jets have all the leverage here. So I think it's going to get done. The owner is pushing, is driving the bus. He wants it bad. The Jets need to get back on the map. They have a top 5 defense. So here's what I dream, Rob, when I go to bed at night, lay my head on the pillow, that Tom Brady comes back, plays for the Dolphins, and Rodgers and Brady play one another twice a year in the AFC East.
Only you could come up with something like that.
I mean, that's what I pray for.
Hey,
But by the way, the
Yeah.
Eagles play at the Meadowlands against the Jets this year.
That's right.
That's right.
That's exactly right.
As a very famous Eagle once said, get your popcorn ready.
Yeah,
bitch."
I know.
That's right.
All right. Last one, Sal, for me. Do they get a deal done with Lamar Jackson? What do you think happens in Baltimore?
I don't see anybody lining up to give the 2 first-round picks
Yeah.
and the guaranteed money that he wants. So he's looking for Deshaun Watson guarantees.
Yep.
And I think these owners are drawing a line in the sand saying, just because Jimmy Haslam went off the reservation in Cleveland doesn't mean we have to do that too.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve Bisciotti, the owner of the Ravens, said as much, and I think he said it on the record.
He was one of the first ones to come out after the contract, after that.
Because he knew
Yeah.
that it now set a different bar for Lamar Jackson. So that's why he was up in arms. But if I am a team, like if I had been the Giants, I would have taken a flyer on Lamar Jackson.
Interesting.
I think he's exponentially better than Daniel Jones.
Yep.
For sure. Now they've won the same number of playoff games, one each, right? So where does that leave Jalen? Way up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's already gotten to the Super Bowl. You're right.
He's
Yeah.
gone.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Sal, awesome, man. It was great having you on today. We always
I'm
appreciate
talking to you, brother. You know that.
And the kitchen looks spectacular, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm loving the cabinets. I like the
I
lighting.
did all this cabinetry work.
I heard that. I heard that was all you. Yeah. You just finished up right before you came
in
on
my
with us.
spare time. I did all this. Yeah.
Yeah.
He couldn't even tell that lie with a straight face.
Sal, thanks, man. Enjoy your weekend.
Oh, my
we always have fun
Be
talking.
good, Sal.
Take care.
Thank
All
you,
right.
brother.
The great Sal Paolantonio. He's a trip, man. He's a trip, Sal. How about that stat? How about the Super Bowl repeating stat? That's craziness.
Isn't that something?
Oh my God. All right.
Never even thought about that.
I didn't either.
Just goes to show you how difficult it is, which I hate to say this. It just makes you appreciate what the Patriots were able to do for so long. 15 years of consistency
in the free agent period to what Belichick and Brady did is
unbelievable.
We will probably never see it again.
No,
but you're right. It was incredible. All right, let's get a timeout. We just keep it rolling, man. We got Al Morganti coming up. Flyers have fired Chuck Fletcher. It has happened. And we will dig into everything that means, where they're going forward here, the whole nine. And I hear he looks very good. He's got a nice shirt on from what my sources are telling me. So we will we will talk to Al when we come back. Don't go anywhere. That's Derek. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take. Let's talk about Pro Action Restoration. Yes, Pro Action Restoration is the place that you reach out to if your home, your business, a property you own has gone through the inconvenience and the pain, frankly, of fire, smoke, mold damage. Whatever the case may be, they can handle it. They're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I can tell you that from personal experience. I called them on a Saturday. Pro Action Restoration got right out, fixed the problem. Price was right. Crew was professional. It was a great experience. They're licensed, bonded, fully insured, and they've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action Restoration will work in conjunction with your insurance company. So again, water, fire, smoke, mold damage, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's Pro Action Restoration.